Hi, everybody. James Escarcega with the man who knows how to play some golf around here, Fred Robledo.
Yeah, I'm back. I left Saturday morning to do my annual little golf trip with
how did we do?
a lot of the buddies in Vegas. Did all right.
How's the driver? Driver was hitting okay?
Driver was hitting okay, trying to find some fairways out there. We played Saturday through Tuesday. Got home last night, and I'm ready to go because here we are, James. We're in week 10.
This is it.
This is where it all starts. And
this is where it ends for a lot of teams, too.
A lot of things have already been set in terms of who's going to be in the playoffs. It's going to come down to seedings now. But there's also a little unfinished business, and there's some big games. Probably the biggest game of the weekend is going to be Thursday night. It's going to be the Turkey Tussle, Mir in Pasadena, which is always an incredible game. But, wow, there's added significance this year.
You've been around the Pasadena area quite a bit.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we've seen a game between Mir and Pasadena where both teams are 7-2.
Not only that, I can't remember a time both teams were ranked in their division where both teams, if they get in the playoffs, and they probably should, would both have a chance at winning a championship, even meeting in the finals. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things that can happen in Pasadena, but it starts on Thursday night. And those who are familiar with the series, it's been Mir for a long time. In 2016, Pasadena ended a 20-year winless streak.
It's like the Berlin Wall going down.
Oh, they've only won the Turkey Tussle, James, 3 times since 1984.
That's incredible.
3 times since 1984.
That is incredible.
Mir's got a 3-game winning streak going on right now. But look, this game can go either way. Both teams have shown a lot of fire this year. Pasadena is 6-2. Mir is 7-2. Mir lost a game last week to Crescenta Valley.
Yeah.
And they were dealing with some injuries in that game. They're still not sure if Amaris Harrison, their quarterback, is going to play this Friday. Something tells me
he's going to play.
Something tells me he probably will.
I think he's going to play.
No one likes to miss the Rose Bowl game in their senior year.
Unless you got
They've got to be careful because they're also thinking big picture. They want to win a championship, and they want everyone healthy then. But, man, I mean, I don't know. I thought Pasadena looked like gangbusters those first 4 weeks when they were blowing everybody out in the non-league. Then they started league, and they lost those 2 games.
Burbank.
Crescenta Valley, as great as they are, they had them up 14-0 before they lost that game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a real winnable game for them. I talked to both coaches this morning.
And
they're both fired up. Over at Mir, they're a little nervous because they know they have a lot of athletes, and they know they've played well the last 3 weeks. Winning 3 games after starting 0-2 in league. So, man, this is going to be.
Who you picking here, buddy?
This is going to be a big game. Okay, who do you like first, and then I'll tell you what I like.
Oh, my gosh, you're taking my pick, so go ahead.
It's John Mir.
Because
John Mir wins these games.
Yeah.
98 times out of 100, it seems like. They lost the game a few years ago, but I really like the Mighty Mustangs. When you look at their 2 losses, Crescenta Valley's obviously a good team. They lost the other game to like a super team, Grace Brethren.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a lot of emotion in this game, and like the Pasadena coach Schamberger says that even guys that you don't expect to be great or you don't expect, all of a sudden they become Superman. And sometimes it's those Superman efforts from guys you don't expect.
That's what's great about it.
Turn the tide in a game like this. Hey, it's going to be close. I'm taking Mir, but I'm not taking that with a lot of confidence. And you like Mir too.
I do. In a close game. I think you're absolutely right. I think there's athletes all over the plate. I thought last week that maybe this can get out of hand, but I think you're right. I think Pasadena has enough athletes to keep this one close.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It's there, and I have not experienced it. I am so looking forward to being at the Rose Bowl Thursday night for this game. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
This is a bucket list game for me, so I'm.
It's exciting. The alumni, a lot of alumni at that game. People don't realize. I know the Rose Bowl. There's 90,000 seats. They still get, James, about 10,000 people.
That's great.
And
I think it's free of charge too. I think the city doesn't charge them anything. I think this goes way back in the day.
No, not they still charge them to get in, but the Rose Bowl doesn't charge the schools for them to play there.
And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful tradition. And man, would you?
Let
me ask you this: if they played in the finals, would you play it right back at the Rose Bowl again?
Well, I don't know if you would even have that option. I guess that's something they'd have to talk to them about.
Right.
My guess is if they meet in the finals, they play at Pasadena City College.
That would be fantastic.
Which is probably where that game should be in a championship at a neutral location for both. But
a lot of ball left.
But James, it doesn't matter if as you know, you get there, the home team gets to decide if they could play. If Muir wins the coin flip, they can play it at Muir.
Yeah.
Pasadena could play it at Pasadena.
Yeah.
You don't have to play it at PCC. That would have to be something they agreed to, but the home team would get it. That's a long ways away. Like I was explaining to the coaches today, if they both are in the Division 11 playoffs, they'll be on opposite sides of the bracket because that's how they do it with the league team. So they couldn't meet to the finals. But James, one last bit of stuff.
Yeah, what's up?
In that Division 11, if Pasadena wins on Thursday night and Burbanks beats Burroughs as expected, you have a 3-way tie for second. What are your thoughts on how that impacts getting those two teams in the Division 11 playoffs if one of them is fourth in a coin flip?
Well, that's true. I could tell you this right now. In a 3-way flip, it'd have to. Well, first off, we have to determine.
Let's assume in 3-way coin flip and it's Muir Pasadena that finishes fourth. Go.
Okay, well, Pasadena will make it in because they have the best record right now of the teams. There's going to be room for the at-large teams to get in that Division 11. I've already kind of done the math already. It's on my timeline if you want to take a look at it. But Pasadena I think they're pretty much in. They have the best overall record of the teams with the I call the non-AQ status, which means they don't have the automatic bid to get in. So I think either way they're going to get in. Now,
and that would be the same case for Muir if Muir was fourth.
No question. And the same thing for Burbank too. So
Burbank's in Division
9, I believe.
7. They're Division 7.
Correct.
So they're not even in the Division 11 pool.
And we mentioned this, Freddie, because again, the higher the divisions, the smaller the teams,
right.
And so there's more room to get in if you're an at-large team.
Yeah.
St. Francis, for instance, is in. Damien, I believe, is in.
Those upper division teams, when you look at what might be a surprise when you come out on Sunday and look at the polls, are a lot of these teams that we have in Division 5 on up.
Yep.
Regardless of their records, like he was talking about the St. Francis's, who they'll probably get in. Damien, they'll probably get in.
Yep.
That's just the way it works out because there's not a big pool of teams.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when we mentioned that, Freddie, and it's a good mention. It's a good spot to mention because Friday night, the Mission Valley League is under the crosshairs a little bit. Now we already know El Monte's going to win.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're going to play South El Monte on Friday night. On Thursday night.
If El Monte loses that game, I buy a taco for everybody in the San Gabriel Valley.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so that's how.
But here's the issue we have right now, Freddie. We have Arroyo, we have Rosemead, we have South El Monte, and we have Gabrielino all tied for second and 2 and 2.
Crazy.
It's absolutely
well,
crazy.
Some of that's going to be settled on Friday because they play each other.
Okay, now we say that because South El Monte plays El Monte, so that should by the end of the night, if we do it right, El Monte wins, and so that will drop. So that gives us 3. Rosemead is playing Mountain View. They should win, so they'll finish second because they have the tiebreaker over Arroyo and Gabrielino for the second place spot. So which leaves the automatic one last AQ spot left between Arroyo and Gabrielino, and that game will be played at Arroyo on Friday night. If Arroyo wins, they make the playoffs as a second place team because they're in a different division. They'll be tied for second. If they don't, their season's over, and Gabrielino would finish third. But they're in Division 14, Freddie, and there's so many teams in first and second place.
That's good drama talk. Arroyo's going to win that game and get in, and I wouldn't worry about it. Oh, Gabrielino's had a pretty good season.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
They coughed up big time in that game against South El Monte. Was it when they lost?
Yes.
So I like Arroyo. I saw them play El Monte and play El Monte tough. They're not losing this game on Friday night.
Okay. Well, we're just presenting the situation as it stands in the Mission Valley League. One of the other games that has a shared interest here is in the Mountain View League, where Sierra Vista and Azusa are tied. Freddie, it doesn't get much more drama than this.
Well, and we talked about it. I thought, a couple weeks ago, a week ago when we learned about all the forfeits, my feeling was it would come down to them beating Duarte at the end of the year. If they beat them and they win the league championship because they'll be 4-1 and they'll have won that head-to-head with Duarte.
Right.
But Duarte loses to Azusa last week.
Something strange happened.
So all of a sudden, Azusa, their only loss. Who did Azusa lose? They lost to somebody.
Keep talking. I'm going to look it up here real fast.
But here's the thing: Azusa would have had 2 losses, but the only forfeit that Sierra Vista had to have in league was to Azusa.
You know who Azusa lost to was Workman.
So they both have 1 loss. And if Azusa wins their last game, and they should, I think they're playing Nogales.
Azusa plays Gladstone.
Okay. Azusa beats Gladstone, and as Sierra Vista beats Duarte, they finish with the same record.
Right.
And since they had to forfeit that win to Azusa, they finish as the second place team.
Correct.
As far as the Division 14 playoffs are concerned.
Correct.
And that's where, James, you had to look at it. If they finish second, and remember, Division 14 is the lowest division. So they have the most teams.
Like 86 teams.
86 teams in that division. So the automatic qualifiers are small. But you think they're going to get in because there's not going to be 16 first-place teams that take those spots.
Right now I've got 8 first-teamers and I think 7 second-place teams that are in.
So if 7 second-place teams gets in, Sierra Vista, ranked number 2 still in the division, despite the forfeits, they've got to be a slam dunk.
They'll be okay.
So Sierra Vista, they have to beat Duarte, though. They beat Duarte, they go to third because they would have the same record as Duarte, and Duarte would get that qualifier, right?
Correct.
So it comes down to, they beat Duarte, Sierra Vista, you can relax, you can rest. It looks like you're going to go in the Division 14 playoffs. And here's a good thing for Sierra Vista, actually. Let's say they do get in, James. They're going as a second-place team. Possibly that could be in a road game as a seeded team in the first round, which is always a good thing.
Yep.
Because that's usually an easy first-round game.
Yep.
You go on the road, you beat someone, then you're home in the second round. Sometimes that works out. So that settles that.
Yeah. The other game which has league championship implications is in the Angeles League, where Cathedral is traveling to St. Francis. Something to keep in mind, Freddie, as we're talking about this game, Chad Johnson Jr., one of the top wide receivers for Cathedral, not going to play. He got through some haymakers last week in their game against Crespi, and he was ejected, so he will not play this week. And the computer has St. Francis defeating Cathedral 26-22.
Well, the computer's not factoring in the fact that he's not going to be there either.
Correct.
Yeah, I like St. Francis, don't you, James, in this final game?
You would think so, right?
And would that be a co-league championship?
Tri-league with
three-way.
Three-way.
Yeah. I like St. Francis, and I don't know all the divisions those teams go into, but
they'll be fine.
They'll be able to go in as a first-place team.
Yeah.
And
they'll have the coin flip afterward to figure out.
I'll tell you this: St. Francis is going to get in the D3 playoffs, but I think D3 is as tough as what the D2 is going to be when you get rid of everybody.
Ooh.
I don't know how far they're going to go. Whoever they get the first round is going to be a difficult game.
Yep.
It hasn't really been the St. Francis year that you really expected, or maybe you didn't. I don't know if we had a lot of expectations for them this year. They lost some guys, but you never know. They're a team that they have talent. They have Coach Jim Bonds. But yeah, I do like them on Friday to advance. So, St. Francis
is the call here.
Is the call here.
For both of us.
For both of us.
It is for sure.
Got it.
So, it'll be an interesting game. And that game's going to be on the prep zone, Freddie.
Yeah.
So, if you can't make it out to the game, or if you don't want to deal with the parking, which is always an issue at St. Francis, you can always park your car at home, fire up your iPad or your computer and watch the game.
Yeah.
The other championship game, Freddie, and this is probably the most bizarre game I think I've ever experienced. The situation has been so bizarre, is the Prep League championship game. It feels like it's between Rio Hondo Prep and Pasadena Poly.
2:30 game, is that right?
2:30 game in a 3-team league, because one of the teams originally that was in the Prep League,
Santa Clarita Christian.
Yep, they dropped it to 8-man football, so now it's a 3-team league with the winner getting the only automatic qualifier to the playoffs. Freddie, I don't ever recall a situation this.
I don't know, but I'll say this: this is BS to me.
Call.
This is BS because Santa Clarita Christian decided in August that they weren't going to have a football team.
Right.
So they leave those 3 teams Vasquez, Rio Hondo Prep, and Pasadena Poly in a situation where they lose an automatic qualifier as second place through no fault of their own. This isn't their fault that a team backed out. CIF, when I'd asked Tom Simmons about that situation, he says, "Hey, look, there's no such thing as a 3-team league. We don't even have an automatic qualifier as a 3-team league. We are basically gifting that to them as a courtesy because of what happened."
Okay.
For me, that's still not good enough, because this wasn't their fault that a team backed out. And they decided to play 8-man football. Had they just, I really put this on Santa Clarita Christian because they screwed these other 3 teams.
I agree.
They wanted to play an 8-man schedule. Had they said, we're just going to play a regular 11-man JV schedule and forfeit those games to them and leave themselves in, they would have allowed those teams to get their second automatic qualifier. But because they decided to do the 8-man route, they left those other teams in a screwy situation. And what I don't like is, this isn't their fault. There was no chance to get a fourth team in that league.
Yeah.
So what you're going to have on Friday afternoon is Rio Hondo Prep, a team that's been unbeaten, hasn't even, no one's even touched them all year. They're a top 4 ranked team in Division 12. They slip up one time and lose that game to Pasadena Poly. You're going to tell me they're out of the playoffs all because Santa Clarita Christian decided at the last second to step out of that league? I mean, it's BS, and it's not fair. Pasadena Poly is even a top 10 ranked team in that division. They win, they get in. So it's a winner, get into the playoffs. And I really feel bad for the team that loses because both these teams deserve to be in that division. There won't be an at-large berth, right? From what I understand, there's going to be enough automatic qualifiers between the first and seconds. And since their second isn't an automatic qualifier, which to me, CIF should have been able to look at. I know they're saying they're giving them one. You should have given them their 2 because it's not their fault. There was nothing they can do about it. When a team backs out, there's got to be some kind of stipulation at the last second. Give them at least a year. Wait till next year you do that. But they're getting screwed, these 2 teams, through no fault of their own. And that's a shame, James, that the second place team doesn't get in a situation like this.
You're thinking?
I'm going Rio Hondo Prep.
First, let's get that out of the way. We want to thank the people at Rio Hondo Prep. They sent us a helmet. Beautiful helmet, by the way, Freddie.
Look, and I'm telling you what, Rio Hondo Prep should win this game. I know Pasadena Poly's a pretty good team.
Yep.
But Prep has really separated themselves. Prep as a team, James, I don't know. I think they have a shot at making a Division 12 championship run.
Yeah.
I guess if you're Rio Hondo Prep, I know it's kind of a nervous situation to be in, but hey, you got to drink your bottle of Get Tough on Friday. You've got to win this game and get in. You might be a top 4 seed if you get in. I know Almani's in that division, and there's a couple teams, but man, they took it on Arroyo more than Almani did. There's no reason to believe that Rio Hondo Prep, if they get in, can't make a championship run. It's just a ridiculous situation that an undefeated team like them has to win their final game to get in. When you're going to look at teams in divisions 4 and 5 and 3 and 7 get in with these 2-8 records and 3 and 7 records and finish 4th place, and you're going to go ahead and punish a team like them if they lose one game at the end of the year. It's just it's BS. There's no other way to look at it. CIF says it's part of their bylaws. That's just the way it is. I just wish if you can make an exception to your bylaws to allow one team to get in, because there's no such thing as a 3-team league, I still think you can do the right thing and say your second place team gets in, but they're not going to do that, and that's just the way it is.
That's Freddie on the soapbox, and I'll take Rio Hondo Prep as well. I was told that the results of the coin flip, because they're going to coin flip before the game on Friday, the results of the coin flip will be announced after the game, regardless of the result. So we'll see how that goes on Friday.
Yeah. So part of this, which I didn't explain fully, if Pasadena Poly wins, and here's what you're talking about with the coin flip. If Pasadena Poly wins, there's a 3-way tie for first because Pasadena Poly had to forfeit a win over Vasquez.
That's correct.
So check this out, folks. Vasquez, which is also a Division
13, 14,
Division 13 team,
down below, right?
But here's the thing: they will do a 3-way coin flip. If Vasquez wins that coin flip,
they're in.
They eliminate Poly and Prep.
Yep.
From the playoffs. Vasquez will have got in without winning a game on the field, which is even more ridiculous. Now, there is this understanding that if there's a 3-way tie for first, I think they're all going to get together, that Vasquez could do the right thing. These teams don't have to do a coin flip. They could say, this is our number 1 entry, this is our second place entry, this is our third. Let's say there's a 3-way tie. Vasquez could do the right thing and say, whoever wins Pasadena Poly Prep, we'll let you go as the number 1 team. We'll go as number 2 and get in that other division. Or maybe they won't.
No, they won't.
Because they're a second, they don't get an automatic entry.
Yeah, they'll get number 1.
It's going to be up to Vasquez how they want to play that. I know they're discussing it. But there's a scenario where if Poly wins and there's a 3-way, if they do the 3-way coin flip, the Rio Hondo Prep and Poly could both not make the playoffs. That's why there's even more BS. You're going to put a team in that didn't even win a game on the field in the playoffs and punish two teams that have had great years.
I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this before, Freddie.
I know there's bylaws. There's also do the right thing. I don't know if like I said, if CIF can overlook this one and tell me there's no such thing as a 3-team league and we're doing them a favor, I think you can do one more because I still think that's doing the right thing. Yeah. But that's a call they would have to make. Oof. I don't know what the pressure they're going to get from these schools. Oof. But what a shame if, especially Rio Hondo Prep, if they don't get in the playoffs after the year they've had. They deserved it.
Indeed. By the way, I just want to take 15 seconds and congratulate the Pasadena Poly girls volleyball team for upsetting LaSalle on Saturday.
Upsetting? They've been your number one team all year. I didn't know upset, buddy.
I know. I believe me, I didn't feel that way. But boy, it was some match, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Before, during, and after the match is all I'm going to say. But they got a big one. We're filming this on Wednesday. They got a big volleyball match tonight over at San Marcos. A couple games, Freddie, really fast. Freddie, we want to go over. In the Hacienda League, we have a tie in second place between South Hills and Los Altos. Let's just go. I know you wrote down another thing. We'll get that in a moment.
Yes.
But we have a little business to take care of here for Los Altos. This is huge because a win here most likely gets them a playoff game, Freddie, when the pairings are announced on Sunday.
Most likely, because you mean if Los Altos loses, they're out of the playoffs?
No, they wouldn't. No, they'll be in the play, but they'll get a road game. But if they win, they'll probably get a home game.
I've said this all day. I think South Hills, considering some of the players that they've lost, that it's been a pretty good year for them. They won the first 3 games of the Hacienda against teams that they were supposed to beat. Let's just be honest with themselves. Mm-hmm. And you knew at the end of the year they had to finish with Diamond Ranch in LA. All year we've been saying the Diamond Ranch Los Altos winner will win the league championship. Diamond Ranch won that game. I still think Diamond Ranch and Los Altos are the class of that league, and I think South Hills is going to do exactly what we thought they were going to do at the end of the year, lose to Diamond Ranch. They're going to lose to Los Altos. They're going to finish third.
So that's who you're picking here.
I've got Los Altos. Okay. I just think Los Altos has been they've been a great, their 2 losses are to Glendora and Diamond Ranch, which is nothing to sneeze at. Those are 2 very good teams.
No, sir.
So I don't expect them to lose to South Hills. They beat a very good Monrovia team.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Picking
LA all way.
Okay.
You got
now,
it.
Freddie is kind of our east.
LA.
He covers the East San Gabriel Valley for us. He's also now decided to be on the Bishop Amat beat.
These last 2 weeks of the season, because this is big on Friday night.
Yes, it is. And more ways. Now, they've already won the Mission League. Done. Finished. It's finito. They've already clinched it. So, from a league championship point of view, it's a done deal. But
they are in.
But
the Mission League.
This win, this game Friday is important because fill in the question or fill in the blank.
Well, here it is. Are they going to be in the Division I Super Elite where there are 8 invited teams into the playoffs?
I'm going to take the sweatshirt off. I'm getting.
Or are they going to go into the Division II playoffs?
I feel better.
Where they would be a number 1 or 2 seed and have a shot at winning the championship. Now, Here's the situation.
Yes, sir.
Here's the situation.
Yes, sir.
They're playing Loyola at home on Friday night. Loyola, it's not a gimme. Loyola has proved out in the league that they're capable. They've been in some pretty good games.
Yeah.
But here's the situation. If Bishop Amat loses to Loyola, James, there's a point system to get Division I. The point system is where you are ranked. It's also your wins against Division I or II teams, and it's whether you win a league championship.
Correct.
So they got a point for the league championship. They got 2 points because they've beaten 2 Division I, II teams this year.
Okay,
so there's 3 points. Right now they're ranked 8th. That's 3 points. You count down from 10 to 1.
So the math right now is working at...
They're at 5 points.
Perfect.
Right now.
1 plus 2.
If they lose to Loyola, chances are those teams that are ranked behind them right now, Sierra Canyon and I don't know who the number 10
Calabasas.
is. Calabasas. If Bishop Amat loses, Sierra Canyon beat Grace Brethren last week.
That is correct.
If Bishop Amat loses, there's a chance they fall to 10 or they fall out in the final week. Sierra Canyon and Calabasas can jump them.
Okay.
If Sierra Canyon and Calabasas jumps them, there are the 3 points that you lose. That would almost assuredly knock them out of Division I and drop it because they're ranked number 8 right now, which is when you take the top 8, they're right in that bubble. They're in if they win because they're not going to fall lower than 8, and those teams can't pass them. So, what do if you're Bishop Amat, You won the league. Here's my feeling when I think about Friday. Here's what I'm thinking. They've won the league championship, so they're not playing for that. Do you rest guys? Are you playing to get in Division One, or is there going to be some gamesmanship where you say, we're going to rest Damian Moore because we want him healthy for the playoffs? We're going to rest so-and-so because we help him for the playoffs. Which is actually the smart thing to do because you're already in. But by doing that, you're kind of tipping your hand and saying, you know what, we're going to be okay with playing in Division Two. We think we got a championship there. My gut is Steve Haggerty would never do that.
Correct.
Steve Haggerty is going to try to go undefeated in league. He's going to say, this is the way football has been meant to be played. This is their last game. Their last game at home. Respect the game. We're going to play. I don't know if every other team would do that. I think there are other teams that might kind of fold and try to slip into Division Two.
Yeah.
Steve Haggerty is going to say, we're going to go in there. They will probably get St. John Bosco in the first round of the playoffs at home. And the reason I say that, James, is because they'll get a second place. Even if they're the number 8, let's say they're the number 8 team in the playoffs, 8 or 7, they're going to get a home game against the number 2 team from the Trinity. Yeah. Thing about it is the Trinity's probably going to get 4 teams if you look at the way it goes right now.
Looking that way,
and all of those 4 teams, they can't play each other. So they'll be on opposite sides of everything.
Gotcha.
Which means that the 7 and 8 place teams will play 1 and 2. And I think Bishop Amat will probably, with the point system, get a number 7. Okay. So I think that's going to be, and so that gives them a home game. I don't know how I feel about it.
Would you play in Division One?
I think Amat's doing the right thing. I think they'll do the right thing and try to win that game on Friday, which is what they should do. Personally, I'd love to see them in the Division Two playoffs because in the 20 years that in 1995 when they won their last championship, I was barely getting going. They haven't been competitive. For 1 year, they were competitive for a championship against that Centennial game.
Yeah,
they lost on the final play when they had Trayvon Cindy and all those.
Brandon Arconado and all those guys.
Oh, they had everybody. The other SC wide receiver that they had 2. Tyler Bonds. That was the best team that I've ever seen them had. They had a shot that 1 year, but those super teams weren't super teams like they are now.
Yeah.
So, I think Amat's had a great season. I want to see them go deep in the playoffs because Kiefer, that last game that I was at, I panned the stadium. Just everybody was there.
Well, wait a minute, I thought going to football games was outdated.
Yeah, well, that's not at Kiefer Stadium. It's not outdated.
Okay, cool.
Outdated.
I just want to make sure. And there was something we have seen. Mr. Allen, when he was here for his photo shoot, and he mentioned it again on the video that you shot after the game, which he said that their goal was to make the Division One playoffs.
Yeah,
you know what?
Goal.
Good for them.
Good for that. Yeah, you got to give them.
And if you don't like that, too bad.
You got to give them a lot of credit.
Yes.
I put a poll out to fans. What would you rather see? Bishop Amat, losing the first round to St. John Bosco, probably, or play for Division II championship. And overwhelmingly, fans said play for Division II championship. But you got to give Steve Haggerty a lot of credit. That's not his or his players' mindset. They want to play for the big cheese. Give them credit, man.
So you're picking Friday night, obviously.
I'm picking Bishop Amat.
There you go.
Because their mentality is we're going to play to win this game. And if their mentality is we're going to play to win this game, they're going to beat Loyola on Friday. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. As
See
La
that?
Mirada goes down.
No, my God. Holy cow. Wow. Someone's fired up here, which only means it's Sunday coming, Freddie. We got Selection Sunday coming up. I know we don't know the pairings. We don't know where teams are going to be slotted or anything else. Give me a team that you're watching closer to me. If I give you $20 to put on as a value pick to make it to championship week, it would be
El Monte. I like El Monte in Division 12.
Okay.
I like Mir in Division 11.
Okay.
I think those, and I like Lacerna in Division 6.
Gotcha.
I really like Lacerna. I know they have Ayala ranked number 1. I think I think Lacerna's number 4.
Correct. But those are some really good teams in that division now because you're talking Ayala, you're talking Kaiser, which won a championship last year. Those are some really physical football teams.
I like Lacerna though.
You do?
I think
good call.
I still think they're.
I got a long shot pick for you.
Those are my 3 favorites to go the way, and I also like
go for
Sierra Vista in Division 14.
Cool.
Good
for you.
And I'll say this about Sierra Vista. what they, it's one thing. Let's just call them 9-0 because that's what they are
on the field.
Okay, forget the forfeits.
Yeah, call them on the field.
Let's just throw that away.
We're keeping score here.
When you look at a team that went 0-8 last year or 0-10, and it's not just that they're winning games and they're in a position they're going to win a league championship or at least a tie or they're going to go 10-0 on the field. It's the way that they're beating everybody, James. They're beating some 88 points that they. And I'll say something about that 88 points. I don't like it.
You mentioned this last week.
I don't like that you're hanging 88 points in a team. You
onside kicks.
You don't need to do that onside kicks. I think it's again. You don't need to do that. Once you're up 40-50 to nothing, get all the other guys in, relax, run the ball, and just play it out. Let the running clock take over. I think from their perspective, they're a little upset how everything's gone down. They feel like they've gotten a bad rap with people. They know. I think Sierra Vista feels like it's an us against the world mentality. There's a lot of people.
They created that.
There's a lot of people who don't like, the way that they talk on social media. Don't like the way they call people out being on the clock and all that stuff. Nobody felt bad for them that they had to forfeit games. I think there were people that were actually rooting for them that maybe they won't make the playoffs when all this came out. But I don't think Sierra Vista needs to answer by rolling up 88 points on somebody. And because they had mentioned in a tweet, if we could score 100, we'd score 100. So I think they were actually out there trying to score 100.
Yeah.
Slow your roll. You've done an incredible job.
Yep.
I think at this point, you got to get a little humble and just go out and try to win a CIF championship without all the talking. Because if you can do that, it would be one of the greatest stories of the year to go from 0-10 to a CIF championship. So focus on that. I would slow down and all of the clocks love trying to run it out. And you got to be smart, James. Because you don't want to get guys hurt trying to run up the clock.
No.
How often do you see that happen? What do you want a guy to throw his knee out?
Right.
When you're up 67-0, trying to throw another touchdown pass in the fourth quarter. I mean, be smart. And the problem is, when you're running up against teams and they know you're running up against teams, it gets those other teams angry where they're going to take a cheap shot. And that's going to turn into fights. You want to get guys thrown out in Week 10 on Friday night against Duarte and won't be eligible for the playoffs?
Yep.
You've got to be smart. They had 7 guys suspended last week for that game and still won 88-0. This is a game, if I'm Sierra Vista, I win, I get my starters off the field, I shut up, I shake their hands, and I get ready for the playoffs. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, awesome. My long shot pick, Freddie. Ready?
Yep.
To the team, Northview. I just
What?
think Northview. And then the only reason why I say that they're going to play Rolling on Friday night, which we were playoffs, but I believe for the second place in the Valley Vista League. I think they have so much talent, Freddie. Whenever you have the Thompson brothers, you always have a chance. This is a great spot for them when the game is over Friday to take the reset button, start over one more time, and make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know how tough Division 7 is. This Division 7 that they're in, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how difficult that is. That game they lost to San Dimas was a little concerning to me. Maybe it's just the way San Dimas runs their offense. It's something you don't see a lot. It got the best of them. Maybe they just had a bad night. I don't know. Their problem is, and I watched that loss against Los Altos, if they run up against a team that's physical and is going to beat them up front, they're going to have a hard time.
But you'd have to admit they have athletes, though.
They have athletes, but they've got to give Jimenez a chance to throw the ball and get him out there. And the other thing is on defense, teams that can run the ball can wear them down. They're not really big and strong up front. Their athletes are in the secondary on the corners. So you get guys who can run and that game against Los Altos, they were able to run and throw the ball kind of anytime they wanted in that game. So if they run into a team that has a really good running back and that can own the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a hard game for them to win.
It's a long shot pick. I have $20 at the table, so I'm going to put 10 on Northview. I'm going to put the other 10 on El Rancho. Because there's another team, Freddie, playing well at the right time of the year. They absolutely demolished our boys from Cal.
They're in Division. They're number 3 now in Division 11, ahead of Muir, who dropped all the way to 4, and a loss to CV.
And seeding is, which would mean that they would not meet if the seeds hold up until the finals, because it's 1, 4, 2, 3. So they would not meet until the finals.
Yeah, that would actually put Pasadena on El Rancho's side of the
Yeah.
bracket. You could have an El Rancho Pasadena
That'd be a great
semifinal
game.
game.
That'd be a pretty good game.
That's if we think that the three teams in our area are the best three teams in that division, Division 11. Again, it's funny because we don't see all of those teams. We don't know them all the time. But I think our Division 11 is one of those where we're looking really good.
I like
Alhambra.
Another
Alhambra's
team.
wow.
Did you see my capsule I put on them? I said it's quite alarming that they had another close game.
They were losing at halftime.
Yeah.
To a team like that.
Hill Gardens. It's just
I don't know why that
alarming.
happens.
It's alarming. It is what it is.
We'll have to see. You they get in the playoffs. You can't fall behind like that.
No, sir.
But they have shown the ability to come back, and that's always the character of a team that can win championships. Also,
So let's go through the weekend schedule for us. Obviously, tomorrow we will actually, many of you will be watching this on Thursday, so we'll have coverage of all the Thursday games. Everything will be up. I'll be at the big game Thursday night at the Rose Bowl. Friday we'll have the one-stop shop with all the games that we're covering. The Saturday morning quarterback, I'm going to work on it early to get it done early. Saturday we'll take a day, kind of got Breeders' Cup and all that kind of stuff, so you can get a day off. And then Sunday at noon, Freddie, the pairings are out. He'll be doing it online. I'll be tweeting the schedule, and then next week it's on like Donkey Kong for the teams that are in the playoffs. We have a lot to figure. We have a lot here. If you want to be the smartest guy when it comes to the playoffs, you need to subscribe, Freddie, to our website. Remember, you're not subscribing only to our papers, but you get all 11 of our newspapers, so you can find out teams such as Kaiser and all the teams in Orange County and the South Bay. That is part of your subscription. So make sure, Freddie, that we want to make our readers. If you want to be smart, you'll get your subscriptions going.
That's right.
All right. We'll see you. Yeah, and Jonathan Camus will say, as Fonda is saying, we'll see you all at the games, everybody. Thank you.